Running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans, welcome to Talking in Ovals. How's everybody doing out there on this? What do we got today? It's Monday, July 21st. My tripod is falling down. It's episode 150. Jesus Christmas right now. And so everyone, forgive me with the makeshift setup we got going on right now. And I'm just all over the place. I am currently visiting my family at the Jersey Shore. Hyatt is home. I have a makeshift setup going on right here, going through the headphones for once. The phone is my setup here. So work with me if this is a little bit Boone's Farm. But I don't know how the intro kind of sounds a little weird in my headphones. Man, I don't know what's going on today. But we appreciate it.
All good, partner. All good.
You can see my lighting. It kind of has like the light of God coming down on me. It's all shadowy. It's amazing. But we appreciate everyone out there for
We're all
watching.
good, buddy.
Yeah, wherever you're watching from, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Kick, thank you very much for watching, first of all. Make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're listening to this later via podcast form, thank you for listening. 5 stars is the rating. Make sure that you go there, give us 5 stars, leave comments, okay? So, last week, we had a great time. And technically, it was only a few days ago because we didn't have a Monday show. But Thursday, we had Maddie Erickson come on, University of Oregon, great. 2025 indoor 800-meter national champion, outdoor runner-up. Honestly, really sad that he's a Canadian, but because I want him to be running for Team USA. But I love that.
I tell you what, he was awesome, man. You know what? Like, he has a great shot to make the Canadian team and compete for his country at the Worlds, man. So it's pretty cool. But I mean, I think there's only one place that we can start this show with. I mean, we had a guest about 3 weeks ago who had a pretty good weekend, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we had a guest.
Congrats to Sinclair
Johnson.
Congrats to Sinclair Johnson.
Yes. The new American record for the mile, running a 4:16.32, breaking Nikki Hilt's record that was ran last year. The London Diamond League, I thought it was good. The weather kind of definitely had a factor with some of the races. But overall, Donovan Brazier had a nice race. Bryce Hoppel had a nice race. Wanyoni and Arup battling. It was good there. There were some really good races at the time.
Listen, Women's mile was fantastic. I mean, 4:11, second fastest time ever. You got Sinclair getting fourth and 4:16. But, I mean, it's just cool, that we had her on like 3 weeks ago, and then she goes out to London and she breaks the American record. It was great to watch. I mean, she's on a roll after her fast 1K the week prior. She's going to be a huge factor at USA's coming up. So good luck, Sinclair, and we are definitely rooting for you.
She's got to be a favorite. She's got to be the favorite, what she's been doing, how fast she's been running. And, on top of that, I think I said it last week, I'll say it again, that coaching switch is looking really good right now. So really happy for her. Again, a good race over at Diamond League. And real quick, you sent me the thing. World Athletics has made it official that they're doing their champions, kind of their own version of like Champions League, which is going to be something pretty cool there. Where, racers, Semco, just talking about execution. I'm looking at it. It's another one where you're having a big price pot for athletes that are supposed to be the best coming in and doing it. Let's see if they pay these athletes. Like, that's all I want to see.
I'm sure
don't promise things and pay them.
Based upon Sebco's comments, it sounds like they've already gotten everything that they need, and it sounds like it's definitely going to happen next year, 2026. You're going to have the people that are on the top times of the world list, as well as the top people from Diamond League. They're all going to get together at the end of the year, and they're going to have one big championship race. I think it's a cool idea, and it pays really, really well. So let's hope that they can execute in the way that Grand Slam failed to.
Yeah, 100%. So shout out to Maddie, shout out to Sinclair, everyone that ran well at the Diamond League. But let's talk about this week's show. This week is someone that I think we're going to have a really educational show today. If you haven't seen his content, definitely go Instagram, X, TikTok. He's awesome out there. Let's bring him in right now. He is Ryan Searl. He is the founder of the Preferred Recruit. What's up, Ryan?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
It's going good. We appreciate you jumping on here. Like I said, I stumbled upon you. I was just, doom scrolling through TikTok after I put up some of my clips or whatever. I try not to, but TikTok just grabs you. And obviously, it knows I like running because the algorithm knows everything. So
Yep.
I scroll through and I just see this dude say they're starting to talk like, hey, you run this time. You think you can get here? Boom. Here are some standards for this school, standards for that school. Follow me if you want more education on this stuff. And I was like, I'm not going to follow him. I do follow him, but I'm also going to go and try and get him on my damn show because it seems really cool what you do. So before we jump into the Preferred Recruit, because I do want to talk to you about that, I want to get into the stuff that we like to ask all of our guests, especially the ones that were former runners. So I want to take a time to first talk about you. When did you get the spark to truly want to become a runner? Not just started running, but you were a sprinter, you ran over at Cal Poly and stuff like that. So what made you want to become a runner and make that something that you follow?
The first moment I realized that when I was in sixth grade, I was in PE class, and the coolest kid is always who could run the fastest mile, and I could not run the mile at all. And they were like, okay, let's line it up in a sprint. And so I went out there, raced the fastest miler, and I beat him in a sprint. And I was like, oh, that's a thing. You can just run 100 meters. And then I went to go try out for like our middle school track team. And then after that, I was known as the kid that would just walk around like this through the hallways to try to get my arms up every single day. And then after that, it was just wraps. And to this day, I have not lost that bug.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So that's another. I always like hearing the sparks because they're all different. Some of them are training for another sport. Others are I've always wanted to do it and I did it. Yours is couldn't run a damn mile, beat that same kid in the sprint on wheel. Like I love that. So you obviously took that all the way through, was able to get it up to college. So what are some of your favorite memories from becoming that middle school runner through high school, through college? What are some of your favorite memories of being a runner?
My favorite memories are, not gonna lie, have all been in practice. I don't think I have a favorite memory from a meet. Because when you're in practice, it's like a seriousness combined with unseriousness. So I went in at UC Santa Barbara at first, and the team was like a family to me. It was super close. We were all just going out there, just having fun, and we knew we weren't going to win conference. We knew we weren't going to win these meets. So it was just so fun being at practice because we took it serious because we loved track, but it was an element of unseriousness that made it so fun because if we lost, we're not going to get kicked off the team. I'm getting to go to conference anyway. So it was just like that double sided, it was so much fun.
I love that. You got there and you just enjoyed yourself and had a good time. So what did your PRs end up being? Because obviously you were able to go run Division One. So you were no schlub. So what did your PRs end up being?
So in high school, I ran 1088 and 22.4 my junior year, and then senior year was COVID, so I didn't even get to run. And then in college, I actually tore my hip my junior year of college, and I ran 1075 and 21.6 my sophomore year of college. My coach left Santa Barbara, and I was like, okay, well, might as well just leave. And I transferred to Cal Poly. I opened up my season 1071. So I was like, wow, we're going to have a great season, 10-4, maybe potentially 10-3, right? Second meet of the season, tears it in half, career done.
Yeah, that's rough. And that was a pretty good track you were on, in progression and stuff like that. So
exactly.
Obviously, you kept that passion of enjoying track. Are you still a fan? Do you still watch Diamond League and follow the sport closely?
I would say yes and no. I'm very picky with what I pay attention to because I think pro track is not really entertaining. I think college track is way more entertaining, and high school track is probably gets the most out of everything. I went to the Texas State meet. I've never been to a track meet that electrifying. I went to D1 Nationals in Eugene. It was boring compared to the state meet at Texas. The energy was low. It was just like, wow, this is it. This is what I wanted to come to all my years. My friends who were at D2 Nationals, who competed at D2 Nationals, said it was way better than D1.
Wow.
So
that's sad. Dave, we got to get him out to meet a champs in New Jersey. If he wants to come
New
another
Jersey,
experience, another fun
that's
one,
a
you
fun
got to
meet,
come
man.
out to meet a champs in Jersey and see what
It is
comes out there.
rocking.
We got some good stuff here. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You see some of the best times in the country drop over
Oh, that's awesome.
there. So you get there, you go through. Obviously, that passion is still there. You then, I guess, try to switch into helping others find a path into college. What made you start to prefer to recruit? Because there's a lot of other agencies out there that want to help college kids get into college, get their clearinghouse done, do all these things that maybe an athlete doesn't know they have to do getting into college. What made you want to start to prefer to recruit as an agency?
So I have a very interesting journey when it comes to just overall business in general. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the brand called Kinetic or the Speed Shorts, but my senior year of college, I wasn't on the track team. I was training by myself. Um, as a whole story with that as well. And I was my business partner, Tibbs, Yada Tibbs. He makes all the like troll content, I guess, on social media. You've probably seen it before. But we had this brand called Kinetic, and had like the speed on the waistband. We partnered with Justin Gatlin. We had him on every single athlete that we could possibly get it with. And I was like, wow, we're doing great. And we're just college kids, and we're not even doing this full time. And we're doing what we're doing in these numbers. And after my senior year, I didn't graduate yet. I had another year. I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna drop out and do this. And he left the team from Cal Poly, and then he got in the portal. I helped him transfer, and I kind of had a little recruiting thing on the side. But then he ended up leaving the business, and I was like, oh shoot, what do I do? And like I said, my friend came to me one day, and he was like, can you get kids recruited? And I was just like, I mean, yeah, because I had a big social media following. I could just refer anyone I wanted to any person, and they'd refer them to the coach. And so I was like, okay, let me test it out and see if I can actually do it. I got a kid recruited to Florida in like 3 weeks who was stuck in the portal for 3 months. And I was like, oh, that was easy. Like all I do is refer him to a kid on the team and teach him how to email correctly to a coach. And he got in touch immediately after struggling. I was like, okay, there's something here. And then I utilized my social media, got like 2 clients, and I was like, wait, I got them like like I copyrighted all their emails. I helped them in terms of follow-ups, responses, coached them on phone calls and everything. And I was like, dude, NCSA doesn't do this. I was like these kids are like, wow, like we didn't even know you could do this much. I'm like, oh shoot, like this is amazing. I'm not gonna be doing track anymore. And I actually was in the portal again, and I was like, I want to continue to run track at D2 level, all this stuff. And just so much was going on. Partner left the brand. I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna move to South Africa. So my friend who does all my back end systems, he was just like, I'm going to Cape Town for 3 weeks. You should join me. I was like, okay, screw it. So that first month in Cape Town, I was basically figuring out, do I want to do social media? Do I want to do the agency, or do I want to do the clothing brand? Couldn't do the clothing brand. I was in a foreign country. My TikTok gets banned 2 days in. So my only source of income I had was gone. So now I'm like in debt trying to figure out how to live my life. And I just end up staying there for 6 months and just build a whole company. So yeah.
It's impressive.
I mean, it's impressive, and the fact that you have the grind to sit there, and it's like,
tenacious.
People that take a chance usually get the reward, right? So you took that chance, and I mean, you have a massive following on TikTok again. Like you have a really good following for what you do, and you caught my eye, and it's you talk about NCSA. I wanted to ask you about that because NCSA is the big dog in terms of getting kids recruited. They're everywhere. They have people reaching out to athletes all the time that have any sort of potential. So what sets you apart as a recruiting agency from NCSA?
So let me break it down. NCSA is what I call a passive recruitment service. They basically put you in a database and hope that coaches will come and find you. The only problem is real college coaches don't use NCSA. Most of the college coaches I've ever met do not go on that website to find you. And so we take the opposite approach. We actually have an active recruitment approach. So I basically have an AI email system that allows us to email coaches through the kid's personal email address. So A, the coaches will never know they'll ever using a recruitment service. And B, we actually can tailor each email to each coach. Nice. There's code in it that puts personal notes about the coach or the school. It says the name of the school, says the name of the coach, and it comes from the kid's personal email address. Like I said, we can send about 50 of those a day. And then if the coach doesn't respond within 7 to 10 days, it sends a follow-up email. And in 7 to 10 days, it sends a follow-up email, then a follow-up email. So we're essentially forcing exposure. We then, after they do get interest from coaches, you get 24/7 support. So they get unlimited access to us via Discord channel, and we message them back and forth all day. I just had to hire a product manager who was a former Deep Division II coach who we go back and forth with. They get unlimited meetings. NCSA, it's even impossible to meet with your coach. So we're on one-on-one meetings all day with these athletes and their families, curating specific plans. And then we have an auto DM machine on Twitter now. I just cracked the code. So now we can auto DM coaches on Twitter. And then once we do get genuine interest from a coach, we put you in contact with athletes on the team. So we know the coach ain't capping about what's going on in the program, because we know that coaches love to oversell the dream of their school. So we get them in touch with the athlete on the team. They kind of ask all the questions like, hey, does this have this? What's the vibe like? What's the coach's relationship like with the kids? Will I thrive in this environment if I'm like this? Will the coach accept this type of behavior? So then they either know that they want to keep pursuing or not, and they're hearing it directly from a kid on the roster.
That's
That's cool,
such a
man.
cool way to do it.
Talking about using the technology that's out there now to really benefit the kids. Now, as a coach, as a high school coach, what role would the coach play, or would they just not have any role? This is kind of outside of what the coach, because in the past it's kind of been coaches would like call Kyle, like it was such a long, tedious process. So this sounds like it can kind of streamline everything.
Yeah.
Is the coach involved?
The coach, in my process that with every athlete we've had so far, we've never had a coach directly involved unless they wanted to. So far, we really haven't. If they just wanted to post kids on social media and stuff like that, that's cool too. But as a coach, your job is to inform them of the process itself, right? Deadlines, how to properly write an email, how to properly communicate. That's the biggest one. Teach a kid how to schedule. God, the kids do not know how to schedule meetings with people. And that is the most important thing, because time is so valuable, especially for these coaches, because they have families at home, they have a family on the track, and they got to manage all this paperwork with arms and registering for meets and doing all this stuff. The last thing a coach wants to do is get more homework. So if you can make it easy for a coach to schedule a call, we teach our athletes, never say, I want to talk this week. Why would you ever say that? You're never going to get on the phone with the coach. So what we do is we have them specifically ask them, are you available on this date at this time? Can you make this call? No? All right, follow up. Can you make this, and this? You'd be surprised if a lot of people don't know how to do that. Yeah. It's so simple.
Yeah, you're right. Because that'll put the onus on the coach and almost make the coach like, wow, like he's coming to me with dates. So it sounds like you're really, really interested. So you kind of make it so that the kids have a voice when they might not be mature enough or at that age where they can speak. You can kind of speak for them and give them the tools needed so that they can look professional and look appropriate when they're speaking to the college.
Exactly. Coaches. And we've had so many compliments from college coaches via the emails about the communication, about the videos, because the way we format our emails are just super streamlined, super efficient, and just well written. And so we get tons of compliments from coaches via the emails just saying like, thank you for providing all of this, right? There's videos in the Google Drive. There's your transcripts in the Google Drive that I can access. You have your athletic.net. You have your averages of your time. You have what the heck else we need to put in there. And I've even had kids come to me like, I can schedule meetings with my teachers better because of this. Like I'm starting to learn how to take this beyond recruitment, which is, that makes me happier than anything else. That honestly made me more happy that he could do that than getting his offer, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So I mean, it's great. So you don't just do it for the kids, you kind of teach them and they are part of the process too. And it sounds like these skills that they're learning will help them for track, but it can also be beneficial to help them in other aspects of life as they get older. These are skills that they're going to need to be able to, have a job and take care of themselves. So that's cool. So I like how the kids are part of the whole process. You don't just do everything for them. Mm-hmm. They have kind of like you teach them, which is good.
Yes. We vet our athletes really heavily. I wouldn't want to say we're exclusive, but we turn down a lot of kids because we only want to work with people that are excited to work with us and that want to work with us, because we've noticed that if you get a kid who's like partially bought in, I had a kid, we signed him on, his parents paid, and he ghosted me for 4 months. And we got him 90 email responses from coaches and like 4 phone calls, and he didn't say a word to me. And I was like, what happened? And then I texted him maybe 15 to 20 times. And no response. His mom emails me in March and he's like, hey, what's the update? I was like, here's the stats. We got 90 email responses from coaches. We had like 40 of them interested in your kid. I don't know where he is. I have no idea. And she's like, yeah, that's how he is. Like, I don't even know where he is. I'm like,
What? And what was the point of the whole entire service? Like, if you're going to sit there and your kid's not going to do it. So that's crazy. So, are you willing to work with teams like there's some top teams in the countries, right? That constantly produce top level athletes. Like we're in New Jersey, we have CBA for the guys, Union Catholic for the girls in a lot of ways. Would you be willing to have a coach call you guys and be like, hey, can we have you like essentially on as a retainer when we have a top level athlete? We want to have an easy pipeline to get to you to kind of get working right away. Is that something that you'd be willing to like work out with the team? So if a coach is listening right now and they like what you're hearing, they get a lot of top level athletes. Like, would that be something you'd be willing to do?
100%. I'm willing to have that conversation because although we do have our 4 pillars of success in which we do in terms of like what we do for everybody, I'm like a free agent in a sense. If you need a certain thing, I can make a phone call and make it happen. We got a kid, an NIL agent. Shout out Brandon Cooper. Sean Masogani. He represented Cordell Tinch. I got him paired up with one of my athletes. He got him a $30,000 NIL deal. So,
nice.
I mean, we help kids get agents. We help kids get connected directly to coaches. I had my friend, shout out Malik Mativier. He helps me a lot with the business as well as part of Team Canada. Hurdler, he made a connection for me at Texas Tech with Coach Rob to help my athlete Tyler get a full-ride scholarship there. So we basically, at the end of the day, although we do those things, if I need to make a personal phone call, if I need to DM a coach personally and set something up, which I have done, I basically do anything possible because we guarantee we will get you genuine interest, which is defined as a coach actively bringing a kid on. So we basically guarantee an offer or a refund. So we need to do whatever it takes to make that happen.
Cool.
So when it comes to, hold on real quick, Dave, I have a quick question jumping in. When it comes to the next level, say a kid's done with college, do you have any sort of connections with any pro teams? Because that's a massive thing, right? If you want to get on a pro team and train with the pro team, that's huge. Have you ventured into that level where you can make contact with any, like, okay, maybe I'm a great distance runner. I'm coming from NAU. I really like the athletes and what On is doing. Is that something where you would try to pursue to possibly get into athlete's ear? Or are you still just focusing on that collegiate level, high school level?
I'm focusing on a collegiate level. I mean, for 2 reasons. One, because I'm passionate about it. And to be very honest, there's just no money in pro track. Like, it would just not be worth my time. I know there's people who do that already. If you want to talk to an agent, go ahead. I know Aaron Brown from Canada. He actually has a program that helps athletes transition. So if I were to do something like that, I would just refer you to Aaron Brown because he has a whole program with that. And he has the specialty. I don't have that specialty. So I don't want to act like I know what I'm doing with that.
Smart.
Gotcha.
So
that's
you
great.
mentioned earlier, that you don't take every kid. Are there like certain time standards that you have to have in order to be there? Okay, so this is more for your top level kid at their program, right?
So our standards are based on like the minimum requirements it takes to make like a JUCO or D3 roster, because a lot of the kids we work with, I mean, we have a range from everywhere. We have, like I said, Texas Tech, Power 4 schools, all the way down to kids who just want to go to a good academic D3 school or NAI school. Like, I had a 19.9 long jumper, a male athlete, 41.11 in triple. We got him a full ride scholarship to an NAI school plus $110,000 over 4 years as well. So he got completely paid out by going to NAI. So we work with everybody, but as long as your standards are within that minimum baseline.
Gotcha. So if I'm like a 50-point guy and I come to you and I'm like, hey, I'm a 50-point guy. I know I'm not going to go D1, but I'm looking D3, NAIA, JUCO. What is there something I can come as a junior and be like, what do I have to do? Would you give that type of advice to a junior or a sophomore that's at a certain level and is like, where do I need to get to in order to get there? Like, do you do those types of services as well as like advice?
I don't. It's either you're part of the program or you're not, because I want to be able to tailor my attention towards these athletes. Because if I'm just going out there spewing advice to everybody, then my attention is not on the people who need it the most.
Sure.
I love it. And real quick, if you do want to get those little tidbits, go follow the Preferred Recruit on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Because I will say, as much as Ryan isn't just going out and giving it out, he is making a bunch of videos that I've seen where he is sitting there and talking about these are the standards for, just throwing it out there, Cal Poly, as opposed to Alabama. Look at these. And so while you're not giving it out individually, if you pay attention to your TikTok and your reels and your posts and things like that, you are giving out a lot of this type of information to kids that maybe are looking to get to some of these schools. Yeah. So I think, you're doing a great service just that way to help kids out without even bringing them into the fold of the program.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
So,
So go ahead, Dave. Yeah, sorry about
if
that.
you're a high school kid, that's right. If you're a high school kid, what grade would you recommend? Would it be junior year where they would start to kind of reach out to you, or do you say like early senior year, like, or is it kind of whenever they're ready to kind of start their whole process of the recruiting?
It depends what your goals are for recruitment. If you are dead set on going to school for track and field and you know that June 15th after sophomore year, this is what our typical strategy looks like for kids who do come in right after sophomore year. We'll have them email NAI and D3 schools only. We don't even talk to the D2s or D1s. We get you comfortable on the phone, speaking professionally,
That's
putting yourself in
awesome.
those environments and level you up. Then you get all that practice and you get a huge advantage. So when you do reach after your junior year and those serious conversations and visits occur, then you're way more prepared and you're way ahead of everybody because you know how to email, you know how to do a follow-up, you know how to call a coach, you know how, and you're not afraid. So if you've been emailing all these D3s and NAI schools, now Baylor calls, you're like, what's up, coach? How you doing? Yep. So how do you treat the athletes? You know what I mean? Like you're just super, I mean, obviously you wouldn't say it like that, but you know what I mean? Like you just have
But
that
in a much
comfortability.
professional, yeah.
Yes, in a professional way to the point where a coach is going to have a lot more respect to you, and if you can talk coach going to love you.
And the
All right,
thing is, too,
so
I feel like you're providing confidence to these kids, too, because obviously D3, they can't hand out the scholarships, but NAIA can. So as you're getting these conversations, you have coaches already sitting there and potentially making offers junior year because they want to snag up that kid that they might see as a diamond in the rough. So now you're getting kids comfortable with getting offers and fielding offers as well and not getting giddy about every little thing. They've gone through that. So now when they do go to the D2, D3 or top JUCO, you know what I mean? Those offers, while they're great, they're not everything. They're not jumping at that first offer. You're kind of training these individuals how to treat this process.
Yes, and it's really crazy because a lot of the texts that I'll have athletes send, I've even had athletes say like, "Are you sure?" Like they're nervous because it's like it's like I'm not gonna what's the correct word? It's professional, right? It's like, yes, coach, I'm gonna do this, and some athletes are like, really, I can just ask for that? Like I can just say like I want to come on a visit? Like what? Like yeah, you want it or not? Like if I'm a coach and an athlete is making a lot of the best tip I ever received from a coach when it came to changing my mindset about recruitment was coaches only want to recruit athletes who are interested in coming to their program. If you're not, if you're, it's the same. It's like, why am I going to be interested in you if you're not interested in me? So we teach athletes to be really, I guess, I hate to use the word aggressive, but we have an aggressive approach of like, we want to come here, we want to make this thing happen, and a coach is going to be like, oh yeah, like sure, you're just coming to me, right?
sure.
Like yeah, of course we want to have you on a visit. Of
I
course we
would
want to
say
talk to you on the phone.
assertive. Call it
Assertive,
assertive.
yes,
There you go.
assertive. I couldn't
You
think of the
know,
word.
So yeah. So
go, Dave. Sorry.
so I have a question. So a uh, high school kid goes, he gets recruited. Do you stay with that kid? Because you were mentioning how you also can help kids transfer colleges, like from one college to the next. So, like once you get them in, are they always part of the program, or do they have to kind of figure out what it like? Are they done then? And then if they need you again, then they can reach out. Like, how does that work? Do you kind of stay with them, or are they kind of on their own once they go? And how does it help getting those kids into different colleges if they want to transfer?
So we work with you into your first 2 years of college. So if we get you somewhere where you're not
Awesome.
happy, then we'll help you transfer
That's
out,
great.
get you in the portal. I had one
That's great.
athlete from Canada. He ran 154, and his season goes really late, so he didn't compete till later. And he had a bunch. I think we got like 8 offers, and he needed a specific dollar amount to go to school. And the one school that he was about to commit to had such an unfortunate situation that our whole program got slashed after a lawsuit at the school. So before he was going to accept it, we couldn't end up going there. So we're going to a school in Canada for a year, and we're basically just going to send out the emails and prepare for the next year. And thank God he just dropped to 152 because now we can start preparing for the next year of recruitment.
I love that you stick with them for 2 years, and I think that's a smart strategy now, specifically with how the NIL is going, with how the transfer portal is now a madhouse, right? Because it gives the athletes the ability to leave when their coach leaves now, much easier than used to, right? Like, I am not a massive fan of what the NIL has become. I'm not a huge fan of the transfer portal per se, but I understand the usage of it, and I think I've been of the person that's like, if a coach leaves within a contract, if they already have that deal and the coach leaves, they should have to like serve a year penalty too, right? They shouldn't be able to coach, but that's not the rule. So I love that you stick with them for the 2 years. Was that always a strategy, or was that something that developed after you saw kind of a few things coming through?
It's funny. It was the opposite. We actually used to work with them like lifetime. So we worked with them until their
Really?
eligibility was up. We actually had to shorten it to 2 years. Um, I mean, if we get you to a school that you're unhappy with, we didn't do our job. So, I mean, then I don't feel satisfied with what I did, and I get fulfillment in getting athletes to places that make them happy. Because at the end of the day, while track and field is cool and all, I mean, the chances are you're probably not going to become a pro. So your environment you're in is going to nurture the way you think, the way you see the world, the people you surround yourself with. Your coach is essentially your mother or father figure for 4 years. So you want to put someone that you at least admire and that you can help grow. My coach at UCSB, amazing man. I like to this day, his number one goal as a coach was making sure you graduate and making sure you can be 100% who you are on the track. That was it. Learning fast came with that. And unfortunately, I didn't have that same support at Cal Poly. But I mean, it's just it is what it is.
I just love that everything that it seems like you've gone through as an athlete has kind of built in by, from your experience. Because real quick, what was your experience like being recruited? Were you recruited straight out of high school? Like, what was your experience, and did that help mold what you're trying to do right now?
So I had
Sure.
like the COVID recruitment experience. When
Oh,
I was
Jesus.
actually my sophomore to junior year, before COVID, I was going on trips to these schools and just walking around and trying to find the coach. Like that's what we did.
Yeah.
We would go to these
Wow.
schools, like try to find the coach and talk to him. I remember we did that to UCLA. I ran like 10-9 at the time. I was trying to UCLA. The dude was like, "Oh, you can't talk to him yet." I was like, "What? Like you can't talk? What?" And the Cal Poly, I met up with that coach at the previous coach at the time, and then like UCSB was always my dream school. So we used to do these summer camps there when I was like a baby. And we'd go there every year. And then my dad texted me one day. He's like, "They just got a new coach. Email him right now." I was the first. I swear to God, I think I was like the first kid to email him, and he immediately responded. And I was just like, "Let's go!" And I took a visit and everything. He told me I could be on the team. And then I got a visit at Sac State like the day after that. So we drove up from Santa Barbara to Sacramento, took that visit, and then I think I committed like 2 days later to UCSB. I was like, yeah, we're going. So I was lucky in the fact that I had my determination for track that I was gonna do whatever it took to make it happen.
I mean, that's crazy too, because again, like we're now
Yeah,
5 years removed from like COVID heavy, and it's just like I forget so much already that so many of you guys went through that. And, I'm a grown man, so it's like I didn't have to go through that schooling part or missing any school and everything that you guys went through. So it's like when we have athletes on that competed during that time or things like that, or even coaches, they have a vivid memory about going through that. And it's like for me, I forget. You're like, yeah, it was COVID recruitment. I'm like, I forgot that even happened. Like that was like such a weird freaking time. So, I mean, I love everything you're doing with Preferred Recruit. I think that you're a pretty cool dude. You seem like
Yeah.
you're a very straight shooter, which helps in what you're trying to do, right? Like, how often do you get like kids coming to you? Like, say, like, what's your ratio between take and not take in terms of athletes?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great question. I don't think we have the data on that because we track like every metric possible. But I guess if you think about this, if only the top 5% of athletes from track make it to college, I guess I'd probably only take like the top 5% of athletes that like that. That's the people that I would take, and then you have to have above a
The
3.0
5%
GPA
of
as
the
well.
5%.
Maybe not like that, but it's like you have to have above a 3.0 GPA. You have to hit the standards, and you also have to be into what we're doing. So I guess whatever numbers and data and statistics show of that 5%, which percent of that 5% meets that criteria. So what is that, like 20% of that? So maybe you're right. Maybe it is 5% of 5%.
Yeah.
That's
So
that's actually
I
cool.
like
Maybe you'll get that metric. Throw it on your website.
yeah. I like how yeah. I like how you mentioned the academic component too, because that's important, like, because a lot of these kids think that if they just run fast, they're going to get in wherever they want, but you need that academic component as well. So how does that factor in? Like, do you ever have kids who are fast enough and then you're like, well, you don't have the actual grades? Like, how does that conversation take place?
So it's funny, the same way like a coach would recruit an athlete for their team is kind of exactly how I recruit. So I'll see a kid's times, I'll see a kid's GPA, I'll be like, okay, he's a 2.8, but he runs 10.5. You know what I mean? So I can let it slide. You know what I mean? Like I can let that slide. But I mean, I do my best to do a lot of mentoring with these athletes. I know a mom came to me once, kid had a 2.5 GPA, and she was just like, he needs some like a role model in his life besides just the recruiting part. So I was like, okay, like I'll meet with this kid as often as possible and just talk to him. Like it doesn't even have to be about recruiting. Like I'll just talk to him and just be somebody that he can look up to and actually just mentor on that aspect of things. So I mean, there's so many different situations. You have to see the whole context of, because at the end of the day, we're dealing with kids here. You know what I mean? And kids mess up. Kids are all over the place. You know, prefrontal lobe. I mean, my prefrontal lobe's not even developed yet. So
neither is mine.
you have to give these kids a lot of grace, and I think that's the biggest thing that I think is missing. Is I feel like it's so scary to mess up, and that we demonize people for messing up. But I mean, what you do when you're 16 as a mess up should not define you when you're 30, 40. It shouldn't follow you. So that's kind of my mentality.
I agree with that. 100% agree with that. I think that's such a good mindset. And the fact that you're even willing to sit there and this kid's not at my standard, but from a human component, like I'm going to go outside of what I do for my agency to bring it in. And I think it's that type of goodwill that people see that, you know, you work with the athletes long term post they get there. You try and help them out getting recruits to places where they want to be, not necessarily just where they can get into, right? And I think all that really goes far in terms of people looking at it going, okay, let's work with Ryan instead of X, Y, and Z. Like I do love to hear just this whole package that you're bringing here.
Yeah,
you know, it's to me, if I have a child coming right now, it's selling me to sit there and at least give you a call and be like, so what are the numbers here? What is, you know, how much is it going to be? And into that, are your prices fixed with what you do, or do they vary in terms of how heavy the service is, what type of service you're giving?
So I have a guarantee, and to be able to fulfill on that guarantee, I need to make sure I'm utilizing every tool I have. So it's just one price, one time. We never charge again.
Wow, that's awesome. And that's really cool.
So I have a question. How does if a kid is listening to this and they want to get involved, what's the best process for them to go to reach out to you? Would it be to go to your website? Would it be to go to social media? Like, what's the best way for these kids to reach out to the preferred recruit?
So it's super simple. All you do is click the link in my bio. You fill out like a 30 to 60-second quiz. We ask you basic information. If you fit that criteria, we then reach out to you. They have a quick conversation with your parents to make sure that it's a fit. And if it seems right, we'll then hop on a call. And on that call, what I do is I basically see if I can even help you out in the first place. Because like I said, we don't take on everybody. So it's kind of like an interview. I'm making sure that your goals align with what we have to offer. We make sure that, you know, your situation is, you know, we can actually help. So I've had, you know, kids come to me and I'm like, I simply can't help you. I'm so sorry. And then after that, I go through exactly what we do and how we'd help.
But at least you're honest, though,
specifically
up front.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'll cry to you.
And do you tell those kids though, I can't help you, but if you get here, call me again? Or are there some where it's just like, we can't work together?
Oh, there's always a but. It's like, I can't help you, but here's what you should do. In this situation, this is the only option you have. You're going to go to ChatGPT, do this, email those schools, do this, right? Because like, if I can't guarantee, I don't want to like have you pay for something that I can't guarantee a result for. And so it's always a but. It's either but do this or but hit me up in 6 months. Yeah, so you are right with that.
I do like that too, that it's like, even though I can't help you, I'm going to give you a little tidbit to send you on your way. So you didn't completely waste your time messaging me or calling me. Like, this is a little hint free of charge. Go do that. You know, I do like that. I think that's.
And we do, sorry to interrupt you. We do have like a course that I filmed. It's like $100. And in this, I basically take you through the entire recruitment process and do a whole like do it yourself version of what I do. So I show you a complete tutorial. I give you like a bunch of resources, a college tracker sheet, like 5 different ways to email, a DM template, like 3 different DM templates, response templates to every situation a coach could email you for. I show you how to find coaches' emails. I show you how to see where you're at using TFers. I show them how to use TFers. I show them basically every detail of the recruitment process in this course. And if families can't afford the main one, I've had kids get the $100 course, and they're texting me like, dude, we've gotten like 3 offers in the past like 2 months. We've gotten this many coaches responding to us with just the course. I'm like, great, amazing.
That's fantastic. So if they're going to follow you, are they following you on your personal Ryan Searl _ if they want to find your website, or are they going to the preferred recruit on Instagram?
Just go to Instagram. Go to the Preferred Recruit Instagram. It's super
So right
straightforward.
there.
Just go to link in bio.
So right there, if you're watching, you can just go right underneath that. It's at the preferred recruit. It's not hard. You just go follow them over there on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as well. So you can go get all the reels and things like that. And again, the one thing, like I said, I'll compliment you again, and you deserve it, because even though you talk about I'm only going to work with who I work with, you're giving out a lot of free baseball when it comes to following your reels, following your TikToks. And it stands right there that, well, like I said, I've watched a few of yours with like, have you seen updated for Arkansas for women? If you haven't seen that, here it is. And you post it up. And it's like, if I'm a prospective runner and like I'm a really good sprinter in Montana, and I've been looking at Arkansas because they've been kicking crap at people, and I now stumble upon your TikTok and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not going to Arkansas yet. I got to work hard. Like, I think that's, it would definitely make me thinking like, okay, this Ryan guy knows what he's talking about. The preferred recruit looks pretty cool. Let me maybe get in touch with him for help. But even if not, I now have an idea of what I can do. And maybe now I'm not looking at Arkansas. I'm looking at Arkansas Tech. Like I don't know. But I like that.
What you just I'm going to interrupt you for a second because you're tapping into something that's good and bad. The last thing I want to do is deter somebody from wanting to go after a school, right? And I had one situation where I have a South African athlete, super talented. You're like 14:30 in the 5K as a junior. Like he's U18 South African national champ. Like he's pretty dang good. We emailed Alabama, and he needs a full ride in order to come to the U.S. And the coach came back and he was like, oh, you need to run 3:40 in the 15, 13:40 in the 5K. And I made a video on it and it went viral. And the coach is Coach Nick, a super cool guy. He called me. He was like, yeah, like you didn't give context that the kid needed a full ride and was from a foreign country. That's why we gave him the standards. He said all of his athletes were hitting him up like, what the heck, am I going to get money? Like, what's going on here? Like, why are these the standards? And I was like, Coach, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot to give context to the situation in the video. So that could be dangerous if there's no context, because there's a difference between getting a full ride, partial. So it's a spectrum of from tryout to walk on to preferred walk on to scholarship athlete, which is all in here. So there's a whole plethora of standards. It's not just one number. And a big misconception is that coaches recruit a number. They recruit an athlete with a number. Like I said, my UCSB coach, he said, you can run 9.9. If you do not pass my test of who you are as a person, you are not coming to train for me.
I love that. And, and that's interesting too, because like you said, the difference is, am I going to take a chance to give a scholarship to a foreign athlete that I didn't recruit? I really have nothing but stats on. Probably have no video to see how they run. I don't know their coach to talk to about training, as opposed to this high school kid from Canada or here, or even somewhere like that. I could sit there and it's like, okay, I can email their coach, find out who they are. I can see some stuff on, all their numbers, and maybe get a video of some of their races so I can at least watch how they race. Can I work with their race strategy? And so maybe I'll take that 14:45 kid from America as opposed to that 14:30 from Africa, because I can at least maybe go to that kid and watch him race, as opposed to I'm not spending the money to go to friggin' Africa and go watch the kid race unless they are running 14 flat, right? So I think that's important. So was that a quick lesson learned from you, that it's like, maybe like, do you have, like, when you get something like this now, will you at least stop and be like, if I have a contact for this coach, let me call coach and find out what's up first before I put this out? Or is it just like kind of at least giving the context when you make the video?
That's a good question. I've never actually contacted a coach before putting out a video, unless it was our documentaries that we used to make back in the day. I mean, I just give context now to make it make sense. And I also try to make videos. One thing I figured out I can do is make videos tailored towards coaches to then repost. So today I posted a video saying, this is exactly what a coach is going to look for in YourAthletic.net. I think I had 200 sends within like today on that video, and I had like 6 coaches repost it. And I was like, great. Now the coaches can inform their athletes and inform those people. Also bring more attention to me as well, and it kind of establish myself as the guy in the business. Because like I'm gonna be straight up, I'm new to this, right? I've been doing this for a year, not even a year. I've been doing this for 10 months, and so with how rapidly we're growing, I'm trying to build personal connections with every single coach so I can learn more. And I'm so open to being wrong about things. I'm willing to say, yeah, I didn't get that right. I'm totally okay with that because I want to learn as much as I can. And that's the greatest part about this is like, I can learn with you. I can learn fast. So I want to be able to make sure I'm learning all the new up-to-date stuff. I mean, the coach Nick at Alabama, he's like, call me anytime you need anything with like rule changes or anything. He's like, you have me on speed dial.
That's
I was
great.
like, great.
You know, I feel like it's going to be fun when you're starting to get those emails. Like when a team updates their standards, they're going to send an email with the TU going, here's why. So that, you know, they don't want that viral video made from you saying that here's their standards and they're going to be like, here's standards with context. Like, this is what we've been seeing. This is why. But again, that's going to help you as a recruiting agent, right? Because you're going to understand what's necessary, why this happened. But it's also going to help you sit there and, again, they're going to be trying to sweeten you up. So when you make that video, it's probably not going to be as you can't get in here for this. It's going to be this is why they have these standards. If you're an athlete, understand when you're trying to look here, this is what coach is looking for. So I think you're going to get that kind of simpatico relationship as you start to grow more and more. But you already have a massive presence on TikTok.
I mean, coaches already started emailing me and DMing me to make videos about them. I mean, they send me their standards saying, can you make a video about our program? And I'm like, sure. I made a video on Samford, and it ended up going stupid viral. It got like 300,000 views, 4,000 sends, and the coach reached out to me. He's like, here's our women's standards. Make a video on it. And I was like, great, thanks, coach. And now I have a connect at Samford. And
when are you going to start charging for that? Like, you got to start charging for that, man. Like, you're just sitting there and you're getting these coaches, these top-level recruits just off of a viral video. Like, at least sit there and be like, yo, throw me a smooth 20. Like, something, give me something for my time here.
if I'm asking for $20, I'm in serious trouble. if I'm going to be asking for $20, I know something went wrong.
I didn't want to give out too low of a number. I'm cool with that 20. Give me something I can't make walking down the street. But
give me something recruiting.
So, yeah, no, I think what you do is good. You seem like a really good dude because, for context, this is the first time we're ever truly talking outside of a few DMs. So I think, you know, your heart's in the right place. It doesn't seem like you're in this just for money. I feel like if I can kind of get your mentality, if you're doing the right thing, the money's going to come, right? If you're doing your job, then the money's going to come. And I feel like that's where I seem that from talking to you, I feel like that's where you are. That as long as I'm doing my job, I'm putting these athletes in the best situation possible, and I'm making everybody happy, coach, athlete, parents, everyone involved, then I'm going to make money. And it's, you know, I've always believed if you're doing the service you're asking for and it's a good service, you deserve to make money. So did I kind of round you out very well?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think you kind of hit that right on the nail because I remember this one specific situation. There's a girl got on the call with her older sister because she didn't, like, her parents were working, and she got on the call. And at the end of the call, is like, dang, she paid for her own private school. She worked her whole life. She's a 4.9 GPA. Like, wow. Her dream is just to go to college. And I was just like, I'm going to help her for a discount, right? So I cut it in half, 50%. And after like I started the search, I said, don't even pay me yet. Like, wait till the first call. And then after that, like, we started sending emails out and stuff like that. And I didn't get a payment or anything. And I was like, you know what? Like, don't pay me. I was like, just don't pay me. Like, you worked your whole life to pay your own private schooling. Your sisters paid their own medical school. Like, yeah, I can't, like, you would be paying out of your own pocket. Like, I'll help you for free. And all I need is just like a thanks or something like that. And I ended up getting her recruited, and it just, nothing felt better than doing that and helping somebody that I think, in my opinion, was well within their rights to deserve something like that.
That's just awesome. And obviously everyone could see, anyone on the podcast side, like mid-audio side, can't hear that Dave's having some difficulties with his internet. If you're watching on the video, he's popping in and out. He's having a little bit of trouble, but, you know, if he gets it fixed, he'll jump back in, but we're just going to keep trucking. So when it comes to the demographics, are you open with working with anybody from anywhere in the United States? I've heard you mention Canada a bunch of times. Where is your specific demographic? And how do you kind of meet? Is it something video like this? Is it phone call? Do you go in person? How does that whole entire process happen?
So we primarily work with athletes in the U.S. I do have my Canadians, and I have like two South Africans. Um, and I don't have any Europeans at the moment, but I primarily work with just North America, and then just I have a special relationship with South Africa just because I lived there
I
for
mean,
so long.
obviously you were there. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I got really like tied into the community there. We even one of the people we met there, we brought him back to America. Now he does all my back end systems with my other business partner.
Nice.
So yeah, we have a special relationship over there. So I help them on a discount just because the rand to dollar ratio is way off. So I do like a third of my price for them, just because like $1 here is $18 over there. So I had to really cut it. Yeah, I had to really cut it for them just to help them out. So I do have the South Africans in my heart.
That's cool. So what's the process? So I imagine since you're reaching out everywhere, you mentioned, is it a phone call or can someone request like a Zoom call with you, like video, or is it only phone initially?
We do everything in terms of meeting one on one, all on Google Meet. We just do all our meetings there. I text a lot of the athletes, but I'm trying to move them over to Discord because my phone is just blowing the hell up, so I can't keep track of it anymore. So we're trying to just move. I have to hire a product manager to basically come in and coach all the athletes. So we're all primary communications on Discord chat and Google Meet.
How involved are the parents in this process? Because obviously, like for me, whenever we deal with any minors here, I'm like, yo, give me your parents' permission before you come on this show. Like, I'm a grown man. Obviously, Coach Hyatt's a grown man. I would not want my underage child to be talking to two grown men, right? So it's like, what's your process there? If they're, obviously, if they're collegiate athletes, they're grown men and women. Obviously, their parents probably could be involved if they want, but they're grown adults. High school kids, how involved are the parents in terms of that process?
Sometimes the parents, I will never speak to them the entire time throughout the process. They just pay, the kid handles it, and boom, it's ready to that. Some parents like to be more involved. I've never had any issues with anybody so far, knock on wood. Never encountered any type of situation that would, you know, be bad, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know how to answer this because I don't know. I'm also like closer in age to the kid than I am the parent. So it's like, I'm only 23 years old. So, and these kids are like 17, 18. So it's like, we have a lot more in common than me. So it's super easy to work with them. It's like working with like a little brother or sister.
See, for me, it's like I come from the perspective. I have two young girls, a 7 and 5 year old. So for me, like being an old man, it's like that's just my mentality, like the parent mentality right there. But I mean, obviously, the parents are paying for it, so they know, okay, go talk to my son or daughter, and we're paying for it, so we're paying for you to handle that. And I mean, it's every different parenting approach, right? It's you're grown, you're a junior, senior, 16, 17, 18, you're an adult, go handle it, as opposed to we want to be more. So again, it's everything's different, but that's just me coming to my old man mentality.
I mean, some kids have even paid for the whole program themselves.
That's crazy, and kudos to them, right? Because that's awesome. They're go-getters, they're hustlers, and that's what we want to see.
Yeah, they put the fire under their butts.
So I want everyone right now that is watching, that is listening, please make sure you go over, and we're all track fans here. Go follow the Preferred Recruit over at Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and also just go follow Ryan over on X and Instagram. Go blow them up. Any athletes that you have that, I mean, obviously you heard, he's not going for only the top athletes. He's going for athletes that meet the standards and are realistic, right? Like if you're a NAIA, JUCO, D3 individual at this time, don't sit there and come to Ryan and be like, hey, I want to go run for Stanford. And you run a 15-15, right? It's like he's going to talk to him and be like, no, we can't do something. But if you come to him and you're like, hey, Kutztown is my dream place. I'm a 15-15 guy. Ryan's like, okay, we can talk, right? So, make sure that you share this because, Ryan, what you're doing, I think is really good. It's good for the track world because, especially with, talk to me about roster limits and how they've affected what you're doing, obviously, because I'd imagine your calls for transfers have skyrocketed. So, how have the roster limits at the NCAA level affected your what you do right here?
So with the roster limits, I thought it was going to hurt what I was doing, but then I realized now more than ever, do people need help? Now that there are roster limits, having a connection is 10 times more valuable now than it was before. Being able to get you to the right school, to the right fit, securing one of those three specific positions they have to bring in has never been more valuable. So ever since that happened, I had to do a lot of due diligence with just educating myself on exactly how the roster limits are working. So they have the roster limits are not actually 45. I don't know if anyone knows this, but you can grandfather in like 10 athletes. So you can technically have 55 kids on your team.
Okay.
So there's weird rules when it comes to that. So, I mean, I don't like them. I think it doesn't make sense to me to have roster limits. I actually don't even understand the purpose of it. I don't know what it's doing because track is unlike all the other sports. It's a very, very developmental sport. Like you need time to develop athletes. Like you can train athletes on the side that will then be useful to you junior, senior year, which I guess is the same thing for football and other sports in a sense. But like, I don't know if you 11 flat athletes can secretly be a 10-1 guy within 2 years. Like you've seen it happen. So it's like, oh dang, the kid ran 11 flat in high school. Although like Tyler Escano, he ran 10-9 his senior year and then runs 10-09 during his gap year.
Exactly.
So it's like there's a lot of athletes like that out there, and that kid didn't even get an opportunity, and he could have just given up, but he didn't.
So Ryan, I think we know what comes out to. It comes out to money. The NIL is big, and now they're having the schools opt into paying these athletes, right? The $20 million that they're paying to. They're not going to want to have to deal with, well, why not us Olympic sport? Why don't we get money? What they'd rather do is limit those rosters, make them small. This is not only in track. This is affecting all the kind of Olympic sports and smaller sports. And, I've said too, I don't think they thought a single bit about women because this is going to destroy, like, what are they going to do? Are they going to force the Title IX equity in terms of how payouts happening? Because, football is going to get it. Men's basketball is going to get it more than anyone. Those are going to be the two moneymakers. We could talk about women's basketball being important, but we can be real. Most people don't pay attention to college basketball in general until conference tournaments. Most people don't pay attention to women's basketball until the women's tournament. And that's not being mean. That's just realistic sports fans, right? Who the hell pays attention to men's baseball in college, women's softball, any of these others, women's lacrosse, women's field hockey, men's cross country? Nobody pays attention to us. And I don't think they thought about the backlash. This is going to benefit big sports, yes, but men's sports. We're going to see very few women getting a piece of the pie here. So, and it's so tough.
I don't even know if I'm not 100% sold that it's only going to benefit men's sports.
I can
because there's still people like Livy Dunn and a lot of those female basketball players like Caitlin Clark who were cashing the hell out. And as unfortunate as most people that do watch sports are men. And when it comes to the women's side of things, it sucks with NIL. The people that are going to be getting paid are like the attractive women and the clouded guys. That's just how it's going to be. And it's unfortunate to say that out loud because that's not what I believe should happen. But that's just what is happening. You don't. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that.
So, and the thing is, I don't want to demean it. When I say with the women getting hurt there, again, obviously they have talent. They're playing college sports. But yes, Caitlin Clark's an outlier. Skylar Diggins, Angel Reese are an outlier. When it comes to that slice, okay, we have $20 million to play with. We'll give it to Caitlin. We'll give it to Angel. We'll give it to Maya Moore. But the whole rest of the team of Iowa isn't getting it. The whole rest of LSU isn't getting it. You guys don't get your own NIL deals. You have agents. You can do it on your own. The school's not going to pay them. And that's just where I was like, they're going to pay most of their football players that are going to win on Sunday. Duke is going to pay their whole men's basketball team. You know what I mean? But it's going to be, I don't think they really thought about the backlash when they did this.
The other thing is how social media is going to play a role in this. Because if you're very, very popular on social media, you will get paid because you're bringing attention to the university. Having a social media presence right now has never been more important. Never been more important. I wouldn't have my business if it wasn't for social media. I wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for social media. I know that companies, when they're going to sponsor athletes now, require you to be a little bit more clouded on social media now before they give you a deal. I know Under Armour told that to one of my friends. They said that I think he needed 10K followers or something like that. Even begin having conversations about, having deals with Under Armour. So social media right now, when it comes to NIL especially, you need to have a social media presence.
Which sucks because I hate sitting there and having to tell that 13-year-old phenom in whatever sport it is, start getting your social media up if you want to have a prayer getting NIL, right? Because at 14, 15, they're coming into high school. You want to start thinking of it then if you have aspirations for college and NIL and stuff like that. And it's going to just become that world. They're already using it as it is. And it's just going to become wild as a coach. You're going to have to start encouraging that. You're going to have to look at your athlete and go, listen, you're good enough to run for USC. but they're going to require you to have 5K followers on Instagram already. Look, it's
Yeah.
going to be insane.
I hope that doesn't become a thing.
It's
I hope that doesn't become a
oh,
thing.
me either. I think it would suck so bad. Dave,
Let's
I'm
hope
happy
not.
you're joining us on your phone. I'm happy to
Yes,
see you're back here.
thank you, thank you. It's been rough with the internet, but yeah, I mean, like, I definitely missed some things that you guys were
Yeah.
talking about, but like this whole process is cool, and being a high school coach, this is something that I can give to some of my athletes to, as because how many times is the high school coach not really informed of the whole process that's going on, and how often does the whole recruiting process change, for like every couple of years? So it's nice knowing that there's someone out there who can help us with this process, kind of like you said, like so it can free us up to have time to coach.
So, Ryan, have you thought about
No,
making like a
100%.
coaches specific seminar that they could pay for if you're a coach, like, or like do something for coaches as well?
Sure.
Because obviously you work hard on the athlete side, but I think it'd be dope if you could be like, here's a high school coaches seminar, Zoom meeting, webinar, like to teach them, like Dave said, this should be your role in the process. This is how you can help your athletes. And obviously, you know, whatever, $100 a head, $150 a head to jump in, because this is crucial knowledge, and most
Sure.
schools will probably pay for this, right? But I feel like that would be something dope for you because you have a ton of knowledge. I could see it. You've learned a boatload about the NCAA rules, recruiting rules, clearinghouse, all this stuff. So, and like I said, you're a straight shooter type of guy. So I could see this being massive, not only for the athletes, but for coaches that truly want to help their athletes get recruited as well.
100%.
For sure, in the future, we definitely have been in the talks of doing something like that. We already did our first webinar, with parents specifically, kind of informing them on the process and all of that about 2 months ago. So one was with the coaches, like a paid seminar with coaches. That's been in the talks. We've just wanted to find a way to actually execute it to make sure we're providing the most value possible. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Let us know. Let us know when you do that because we will
sure.
100% blast it out. Like, let us know early because we will go every week saying, hey, prefer to group webinar coaches, get involved, get in there. Because again, you've sold me. I like what you do. So, our small pocket that we have, we will make sure they're informed as well.
No, I appreciate that a lot, guys. I really do.
So, Dave, you had something over there?
Sorry, my roommates just came home, so it might get a little loud in here. That's my apologies.
No,
That's all right. Listen, fun of a podcast.
I was just gonna say, like I like how you include the parents too, because like they're just as much of a part of this as the actual athlete, because they are the ones who are forking over the money, and every parent wants to make sure that their own child is being taken care of. So it's great that you talk to the parents. I'm sure that helps them feel more at ease with the whole process, and they can build more of a trust with you or someone else who contacts them from your company. So I think that's really, really cool. How much have you ever had any interaction with parents that's kind of like how informative do you have to be to the parents? Do they come to you with any previous knowledge, or are you kind of just treating that like teaching them as you're teaching the actual kids?
It's all over the place. I've had a parent come to me that was fully aware of the recruitment process, knew exactly how to go about it, but she was too busy to do it, and she would rather just have somebody that understood it, just do it with them more efficiently, right? They had 2 children before them go SEC with like other sports, so they were just like, you know what, like I know how it goes. I know how rough it is as a mom trying to do all this stuff with my athlete. Like, can you just help me out? And I was like, yeah.
That had to be a compliment too.
And then I've gone all the way to the. Yeah, no, for sure it was, because they knew exactly how that process went and how much of a struggle, and they understood it, and they knew that outsourcing it was just way more efficient, especially with what we do specifically, because no one else does it. And then we've gone all the way to the other side, where the parent doesn't have a clue. They're just like, go handle it. I don't care if he goes to college and he's happy. Cool.
No, but that also has to be validating, like when you talk to a parent who's been through that process and they agree with with every step that you're doing, it just shows, that you're doing everything right and that you can be, like 100% count on. So that's cool that you're getting that feedback from parents, not just from the athletes. So.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. I guess in a sense, I never really thought of it as validating. I always just thought of it as like oh, thank God, a parent finally understands.
I'm not talking Spanish to them. We're on the same language here. So I want to share.
That's funny. I actually had to do a whole call today in Spanish. It's funny you said that.
Are you fluent in Spanish? That would be helpful.
A little bit, yeah, because my grandparents are from Spain, and I'm in Costa Rica right now, but I grew up speaking Spanish, so I have
Nice.
a little bit of a background.
That's awesome.
So I do
That's
some of my
helpful.
calls in Spanish.
That is absolutely helpful. So,
Yeah.
like I said to everyone, if you know an athlete, coaches, anyone, go follow the preferred recruit. So I just want to shift gears before we get you out of here. I want to talk a little bit about the sprinting training culture because you mentioned that. I don't know what the hell the sprinting training culture is. I
Right.
want to know, you were talking about potentially problems with it. So what's your take on what that currently is and what the issues are?
There are, well, I feel like training is one of the most controversial things in track. I don't know what it is, but no one can agree how to train properly. No one can agree on it. Like the old head mentality of just 400 repeats and 300 repeats to, those just do 3 30-meter sprints the whole week, like, and everything in between. And to find out that when you can figure out that less is more on your body, and you can figure out the right way to do it, and you crack the code, it's such a freeing feeling with training. So I've been with coaches that just grind me to the
Sure.
dirt, and it's just like I didn't get better, like we didn't get better here, and then it's just like the ignore the injuries, push through it, David Goggins
The
mentality,
old school
which
stuff.
does not work for
Old
sprinting.
school.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure it was Tony Heller or Holler that wrote the paper like distance runners are like dogs, sprinters are like cats, like they need to like go sprint and then chill for a while, go sprint then come chill. I think there's just it's hard because you're telling someone who's driven to do 4 to 5 reps of something and be done for the day because your CNS is just cooked after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of just I'm going to call out some coaches. There's a lot of fragile egos in coaches. They believe that their training is just God's gift to green earth and that it's going to work for everybody. And if you question it, then you must be the problem. And I think fragile egos also destroy the sport because you're not helping anyone. You're just I don't know what the point is of doing that, but the whole goal of a coach is to nurture an athlete, not your way of the highway. It's just a weird power trip that I don't
Yeah, you
understand.
know
And
what
it's
I mean?
something I think
Like be
that
open
to
to
be
being
said
wrong.
there with, sprinters specifically, because sprinting, a lot of it, you're a sprinter, a lot of it's God given talent. And then it's tweaking that God given talent with technicalities and fine tuning. And I think that if you're a coach and you have a mentality and you've gotten a slew of just incredibly talented athletes that were going to get better naturally anyway, you become convinced that your method is the way it works,
Sure.
right? And I think that with sprinters, you get that where you could be, and maybe you're really good at just coaching one aspect, and that does help. But now everything else is lacking, and you're unwilling to change. And I've talked about this before with other sports because we've seen non-contact injuries fly in other this contact sports, right? And for me, it's because you have basketball players that are playing basketball 24 hours a day, every day, off season, lifting like animals. Football players lifting like crazy, never stopping doing any
There
sort
is
of
no
football
off season.
technique. Baseball players constantly throwing, all stars, everything, this and that. They all need Tommy John. And it's because there's no downtime. There is no less is more for them. When you have a guy like Nikola Jokic who's like, I'm done with basketball. I'm going home and not playing. I'm not touching the basketball until I have to come back for training camp. And I think we need to. There was a time where, yes, it was all grind, but off season was off season. So they had that recovery so they can grind again. I think we need to find that perfect marriage of yes, work hard, listen to your body. Less is more, but off season needs to be off season still. So when you come back, you're refreshed. And I think that we're seeing the results of specialization, which is tough, right? Because even for a sprinter, I don't think sprinters should be sprinting and only sprinting. They should go be football players. They should go be basketball players. They should go do other
Yeah.
things. Distance runners are different. Distance runners, you need to run. You need to keep a base. You need to be smart. That might be like one of the only specializations. But I kind of, I like your less is more mentality, and I think we need to take it in all facets of sports, not
Sure.
just sprinting, not just training. So
And you know what I mean?
that's me.
Any good coach should be adaptable and should learn from season to season. Like, oh, you know what? Like what I did 15 years ago, it's not working. Like my kids are getting hurt or whatnot. So like I think every good coach is willing to adapt. At least that they should be, or else you're going to get left way behind.
Have any
Exactly, and it makes it really difficult if you do have that one mentality because it limits the amount of athletes you can bring into a program that'll be successful. And then when that happens, it's just obviously the goal is to win conference. The goal is to go get kids to regionals, pass them on to natties. Those top schools need to win natties. So that type of mentality just it just destroys programs.
Have you noticed any programs that you've gotten consistent kids coming from in your thing? Have you gotten like some inferences about those coaches being those types of coaches where you're getting kids, they're talented, but they're not getting better as you're getting through this process with them? And it's like, maybe it's that coach type of thing. Have you gotten any of those, or you're still too new in the game to kind of get that type of pattern?
I have select schools that I have that with. I don't have that. I don't have a gauge for every school, and if I don't know, I ask. So that's why I decided to surround myself with people who know more than me, because I am aware that I don't know everything about every program in this type of process or this type of paperwork. So I have people like Malik and Tivier, who has been through the Canadian to the American system, been transferred multiple times to the SEC school. So he's kind of like my eyes and ears when it comes to, what happens at that level, because he experienced the SEC and he experienced the Big 12. I didn't experience that. I was a mid-major runner, so he can give me all that input of what's really going on at those levels. So they are the ones that are more knowledgeable in that situation, that I get the knowledge from them.
Smart though. Listen,
I just love that
good leader delegates. Any good leader delegates.
Ryan has spies. That's all I just heard. Ryan has spies everywhere, and I love that he is like the Hoover of the FBI. Like this is, I'm gonna go send out my spies at all levels. But hey, listen, you need that, right? Because you need to have an understanding of where you're coming from. You need to sit there and know, like, okay, this is a great women's program that produces great women. They don't produce great men. Why? Who's that coach? What's going on there? What is the, and I think that's an awesome mentality, an awesome thing that you're doing. And, I agree with you on the sprinters mentality. So when you say less is more, have you found some sprinters or some programs that you've seen taking the approach of do less and have gotten more production out of their athletes?
Specifically, the programs you're going to find those at aren't even at those SEC Power 4 schools. They're going to be more like the mid-major to like D2 schools. I could be completely wrong on this, but I'm convinced there's better coaches in D2 than there are in D1.
There's great coaches
everywhere. A lot
everywhere.
of the coaches in D1 are focused on keeping it. Yeah, there's great coaches everywhere, but a lot of the focus is different. D1 and SEC, their job is to keep their job, and they need to find talented athletes that are already fast. They don't have time to develop. They win this year, they're gone, right? They're sent to the next school. So their job isn't to develop athletes anymore. It's if you come in 10 flat, I need you to keep running 10 flat, get these points for me so I can keep my job, right? So it's like that mentality kills the developmental attitude that we need. In a lot of the D2 programs, it's a more calm environment where it's not like, the coach is going to lose his job if you don't score like 20 points in nationals. They can take an 11 flat kid, develop him to run 10-4 by his junior year, right? So, it's just.
Yeah. Now, have you had any issues, because we talked about it on our show, the amount of college coaches that are changing schools? It seems to be like it happens so often now. There's so many there's no commitment from the coaches. Like kids sign up for a school that their senior year for a coach. He's gone. That just happened in Colorado, and there's so many places where the coach who's been there for a while or is new is leaving, and there's so much change. Has that been any of a problem for you when you're dealing with these coaches?
I haven't seen the full extent yet, because I have a data scraper that scrapes all their contact info and puts it on a spreadsheet for me every single month. Nice. So, it doesn't really affect what I do when it comes to contacting them. Like I said, I've only been doing this for 10 months, so I'll see the true effects of that, of getting a kid to a school and the coach leaving probably in the next 2 years. That's why we had that 2-year guarantee into their college. So if that does happen, we're ready. We know how to handle the transfer portal. I've been to the transfer portal like 2 or 3 times at this point, and I've had people around me that have been through the transfer portal plenty of times and either been coaches. So
I love that. There's great coaches. We had an amazing coach, Philip Redrick. He's the community college coach, JUCO, and you talked about the D2 level. I think JUCO has so many great coaches, because it is literally their job to develop. That is nothing more, nothing less. Take these kids, usually Division I talents that just don't have the grades, take these boys and girls and turn them into men and women in 2 years so they can be ready to go to the higher D1 level and things like that. And have you ever thought about working with a lot of these JUCO schools with maybe some of the coaches that aren't as good at getting that process done, with helping their athletes from that level get to the next level?
That's the place there, man.
That is a really good point, because the primary athletes I work with are JUCO athletes for transfer, because they always go to these JUCOs that are like, oh, the coach said he knows the process, he's going to be transferred. And they don't, because they have to worry about 110
Sure.
kids on the team and the wife and family and kids at home, and they're probably their second job if they're doing that. They're not fully invested into you and what you are doing. They can maybe make a phone call when they finally have the time, but you need to be responsible for your own. And so that is a good idea to maybe potentially start giving extra assistance to a lot of these JUCO schools in helping, because they only get them for 2 years. So
I'll tell you this.
they're equally as important in that process.
You would love Philip, Coach Redrick, because he is a psycho in terms of he gets all of their numbers down, all of this, and he makes phone calls for all of his athletes like crazy. So I feel like, as much as you wouldn't probably he wouldn't use you, I feel like you two would get along very well because you're both incredibly passionate about getting the best for your athletes that you're working with, the athletes he's working with, and he prides himself on taking that 50-point kid and turning him into a 46-second kid so they can go run for an SEC school. Like he's big on that. So I mean, I would love to get you two in contact, just have conversations about all this stuff, and because I feel like you two would get along super well. So
No, for sure. I mean, I'm always happy to make a new connection. I'm always happy to learn more because I'm sure he's been around for a while and knows a lot more than I do.
he's
I'm always
actually
more
pretty
than
brand new.
happy to hop on a
I
phone
think
call.
he's been coaching for like 4 or 5
Really?
years, and
That's still like
so in
a while.
the first place he coached, he brought the team and they became national champions. He brought a 4x1 national championship team. That he did it. He was on our show. He talked about this. A new AD came in, didn't get along, let him go, and a rival school right away hooked him right up, took him, and he's already starting to bring that rival school. Pratt is one of the best schools at JUCO already. So I feel like, and again, has a bunch of guys that went on to be successful at other programs and things like that. So you would definitely love them. So Ryan, I love what you do. I love your passion.
Shit.
I love your knowledge. Dave, do you have anything else before we get Ryan out of here?
Yeah, and listen, I didn't really know what this whole company was, but talking to you as a high school coach, it's definitely something that can be utilized by not just the athletes, but I feel that kind of like Alex said, if you started working with the coaches, I really feel that could be a venture that could be successful because, like you said, like I know me personally, I have a family, I'm divorced, I only see my kids, I have a fiance, I'm a teacher, so like but there's only so many hours a day. I teach, I coach youth running too, so like it's hard to always find the time. And as a coach, I don't have every connection that you do. Like you specify in having these connections. So what you do is an extremely helpful tool for so many kids and coaches too. Like I definitely feel that the coaches could definitely utilize this just as much as the actual kids.
Well, thank you guys for the awesome feedback. It's definitely validating hearing it from you guys that I'm excuse me, on the right path and doing the right things. I mean, that's all I could really ask for. So no, I'm definitely humbled to be here and be able to have these types of conversations with you guys. So definitely a pleasure.
100%. So last thing I want to ask you, because I feel like you'll give a pretty interesting answer. We asked most of our guests this. And, one thing you talked about, the pro level, there's no money in it, right? Where we know there should be money in the pro level because some of the best athletes on the planet are running at that pro level. So it's always sad to see they're running, they're jumping, they're throwing. And we did a whole series with Olympic hopefuls. And, there were 7 of them back when the Olympics were coming around for trials and stuff. And most of them were volunteering at some smaller schools or schools just have facilities to train in. We had people that barely were making ends meet for rent and coach and things like that. So if you could change something about this sport, if you had a magic wand, poof, it would change in order to make this sport more lucrative for the athletes, more fans to come in and enjoy the sport so that we can have legitimate pros. What would you change?
I have kind of a controversial
Let's
answer.
hear it. I love it.
We need more. How do I say this? I'm going to say this in an odd way. We need more hate and negativity. Now, this is going to be
That's what he says.
completely out of
Alex
context.
said.
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
We need people, because when you look at, if everyone's so happy all the time, it's so like good race. It's just like who cares? But it's like these dudes got in a fist fight after the race. Oh, they're gonna go head to head next week. Oh, they're getting 100,000. They got to race for 100K. Oh, I want to see him do something. Like you're so interested in what the heck's gonna go on. So when you see like Fred Curley talking the way he talked and then not show up, it's like, oh dang, like I wanted to see him bust Noah Lyles, right? Because it's like there's a storyline there, and I don't know how Bolt did it, but he was just so dang dominant and also not too negative.
Right.
But like with where we're going now, I want to make a really poor comparison here. But the same way like Donald Trump kind of like used that type of energy to get the country to vote for somebody is the same kind of energy we maybe potentially need in track and field. I don't know.
I mean,
I think it would just
So
make
I
the
mean, no,
sport
but so
with fighting. Oh,
so you're
yeah,
you're
go
a
ahead.
fan of like the Jakob and Josh Kerr going at it. Like, I think it's cool. You know, I mean, part of me is old school in that sense, but it isn't working. So I'm open for more trash talking. You know, people don't like Noah Lyles, but he does bring people to the sport. You know,
So it's like hockey. Like you get like hockey is one of the sports you go to it, and if somebody doesn't get in a fight, you're like, well, that hockey game sucked. Like you watch Conor McGregor and Floyd, like you watch all these fights. Like the way we should be doing track is the same way that fights are occurring. You build up this
it's
fight,
like
you
NASCAR.
create these press conferences. They're head to head, right? Like they're head to head. They're like, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you. It's like I want to see this happen. I want to see Noah Lyles head to head with Fred Curley. Like yeah, we'll see you on the track. Like that would create so much more of a story.
would.
And it's like NASCAR.
face-to-face.
If you're watching a NASCAR race and there isn't a crash and you're a casual fan, you're like, why did I watch that race? Like you want to see that drama. And
True.
I agree with you. I think one of the worst things that happened is the past, Noah Lyles and Latino Tabejo just raced and they just kind of walked off and shook hands. I would have loved for Noah to turn around. Even though Bleak Seville dusted both of them, I would have loved for him to turn around and look at Letio and been like, dude, baby, I just got you twice. And just talk that mess. Like, because, who cares? Bleak Seville? No one's worried about a Bleak Seville until Worlds happens, right? Whatever. The controversy is between those two. So I agree with you. I've been saying it forever. They're too nice.
I'm not opposed to it, but like part of me thinks that it's sad that we have to resort to these tactics just to get people to watch. Like I would just wish that we can get to the point where these athletes are respected and watched based upon their talent.
What sport is that? But Dave, what sport exists?
I was just to say, what sport doesn't have that? Like, what sport is just shake hands and everyone loves you?
You watch football because they get them hitting each other and go, righto, cheerio, and then they walk away.
I watch football because they're incredible athletes and they're really good at their skill.
Nonsense.
That's why I watch sports.
If you took away the contact in football, you wouldn't watch.
Not even that.
I know.
If you take away Odell Beckham going a one-hander over his rival, getting up and talking mess, and having one of the greatest plays in Giants history with the way Odell Beckham is, imagine if a robot did that one-handed catch, got up, placed the ball down, and went, "Good try, defensive back," and walked back to the huddle. No one would care. Nobody. I'm
not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying like that's not what I am into in sports. But I see its value because it's true. But I like especially track because like I'm just a purist. Like I just love this sport. Like I just want these people to be known because they're really fast. But that's not gonna happen.
But you see where that's also nonsense.
I know.
That's also nonsense. No, here's why.
Not gonna happen.
Not even that. We're such purists. We love Steve Prefontaine, who talked mess to everybody. We love Michael Johnson, who talked mess to everybody. Maurice Green, who talked mess to everybody. We love Yaka, who talks mess to everyone. We are so purist until they're not, and then they're the biggest people on the planet.
But I also love like Bernard Lagat, who didn't say a peep. He said nothing negative. He was just an all-time great.
He talks so much mess about the Kenyans.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't think that many people know who that guy is.
I love Bernard.
Here's
the
thing. When track was at its peak, we had Michael Johnson and Donovan Bailey running
150
because they were talking so much smack to each other.
And what happened?
They had to go line it up and put some money on the line.
What happened? It was a race based on talk that they shouldn't have raced, and Michael Johnson hurt himself. Because like he pulled up in that race because it was. It was.
So here's the thing.
Whether he did or not, I'm not sure.
One fluke, and we got to go away from it. Here's the bottom line. Nobody remembers the athletes that are soldiers, except for if you're Calvin Johnson or Jerry Rice.
People will remember Aaron Judge. You don't think they're going to remember Aaron Judge?
No, if he doesn't get a championship, no one's going to care.
They're going to remember Aaron Judge. Are you kidding me? Yeah, Aaron Judge is the biggest star in baseball. He's the biggest star in baseball. He didn't say a word.
Only because he's got a Yankees crest on.
Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant.
Here's the thing. If Aaron Judge was a Milwaukee Brewer doing the same exact thing, no one would remember who he is.
Yes, he would, because Christian Yelich was big too when he was. So
who's Christian Yelich?
He's an MVP.
Nobody outside of baseball fans know.
I understand the need for this.
To a sports debate.
As a purist, I don't love it, but I understand that it's completely necessary, and we need to do something to market to get the sport out there, and that's probably what we need because that's what people like. People love controversies.
We just need, at the end of the day, we need a storyline.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
that's it. We need a storyline. People love Derrick Rose because of his storyline, being a home kid from Chicago. They rigged it so he'd be the first pick in the draft, and that's a
They also rigged it this year
controversial
too,
take,
so that
I believe. Like,
no,
And
so
the
like
bottom line is,
storylines.
I get it. I
and we
understand.
need
I
we
get
need
it.
heels. We need heels and we need baby faces in sports. If there isn't a bad guy, then there's no reason for there to root for the good guy. Noah Lyles gave people a reason to root for Tebejo, for Kung Fu Kenny,
Mhm.
for those people. And here's the thing. You might not like Aaron Spider Brown, but Aaron Spider Brown, if you pay attention to his content on TikTok, he creates heels and baby faces. And if
Okay.
you don't like Aaron's opinions, then you're rooting for the people that he cheers for. Aaron Spider Brown has given Gabby Thomas more fans than anyone else because he can't stand Gabby Thomas. So people are rooting against Aaron Spider Brown's opinion of Gabby Thomas. So he is creating heels and baby faces in the sport.
He is.
You need those. You need
Well,
those.
this is
Dennis
the way I
Rodman
think
was a
about it.
heel.
Well, this is the way I think about it. Like, I'm gonna use a heartbreak example. The reason you hurt so much after a heartbreak is because at some point they made you feel this high for you to be able to feel this low. So for you to be able to have this much support, you have to have this much negativity because where do people bond together against people? That's just the way it is. That's how you form groups. That's how countries are formed, right? We all came to America because of King George. They all wanted to come to America, right? So you bond over having a common enemy. That's just how people work. So you have to create those in sports because, like you said, with Aaron Brown, I don't even like people call him a hater, but to be honest, I don't even call him a hater. I just think he just reveals.
We had Aaron on the show. I like Aaron. We've had him on the show.
Yeah, he was
Like,
great.
Yeah, we talk all the time.
I'm a fan of Aaron. Aaron's a good dude. Listen. He gives his opinions. I don't agree with all of them. There's sometimes I watch one of Aaron's videos. I'm like, dude, you're an idiot. But at the same time, I like the fact that he's out there because again, Lachlan Kennedy, he's got more fans from him because of Aaron talking so
People
much.
that know this,
People
Lachlan Kennedy
want
and Aaron
to
Brown
see.
are like good friends. Like they did. Like
I know they
talk to
are.
Aaron like every day. Yeah, they're great friends. Like they talk every day. So it's like
And
people.
no
He's
one
putting
is
people
rooting.
on.
No one's rooting for Lachlan Kennedy to break 10 more than Aaron Brown because that will be a great video that Aaron Brown has to make. That he'll sit there and he'll make a big deal about how wrong he was, but he can't do it again. Well, look at that. Well, he will make it a big thing. And again, you need Skip Bayless has made LeBron James even more important than he ever was because Skip Bayless fake hates him. Okay, like you need those. Okay, so that's where I am. Ryan, you gave me my favorite answer so far. In this all 150 of these shows, you give me my favorite answer for that question. Dave's unhappy because somebody agrees with me. But
I said I don't like it. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It is 100% right. I just wish that we would be talking more about the sport exploding because people are running really fast, or there's great races, or they're breaking records, or based on their
the
merit.
proof is in the pudding, Dave.
Listen.
People
It has
people
not
are
worked.
running really fast
It
and
has not
nobody's
worked.
paying attention. So
I wish a lot of situations could be like that too. It's just unfortunate, but that's just
It
how
is.
humanity
It is.
it's like the Kardashians. No one's watching the Kardashians if they're not arguing or like Baddies. If you guys know that show, like no one's watching stuff without controversy. Unfortunately,
And no, you're absolutely right. It's the culture that we live in now. Maybe
it's always been the culture, Dave. It's not the culture we live. It's always been the culture.
No. It's the culture. It's the culture here in America, but in Europe, you're popular because you're fast and you're good, and people go.
Stop. You're popular in
People
Europe
go to the
because they
meets
still
there.
care about. No. They still care about their
right
country.
about Europe. He's still slightly right about Europe. There's a lot of obviously like nationality, or not nationality. What do you call it? Nationalism when it comes to like sports. But at the end of the day, they're very against celebrating. They're very traditional, like you race, good race type of thing.
And we don't need.
But but you can't say that it doesn't work. They get monster crowds over in Europe. They get huge crowds.
They do.
It's about,
They do.
but because there's less sports, but there's such more of an emphasis on track and field there. Like it's a big deal.
It's
so like
only in track and field because in soccer they want to kill each other. So it's only in track and field they're that way. Because if you go to their football games and like that type of stuff, they want to rugby, cricket. They'll kill you over those sports. It's only track that this prim and proper comes in. All right,
that's really funny. That's a really good point.
So Ryan, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you so
You
much.
have gained two people that believe in what you do. We think you do also stuff. And like I said, if you have anything you're doing in the future, any webinars, any things like that, any new
Let us know.
promotions, please let us know. We will make sure we give it a blast out to our audience, because someone that's passionate about helping individuals in this sport to achieve what they want to in this sport, it's kind of why we're here. We like telling stories. We like making this sport bigger, one story at a time. So, awesome job. Thanks, man. We appreciate you coming on.
Yes.
No, appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you so much.
So
Thank you.
once again, he's Ryan Searl. He's the founder of the Preferred Recruit. Going on the Preferred Recruit, any on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Just go search for him there. Go follow him over there, and go follow Ryan over on X and Instagram at Ryan Searl _. And you can go find us anywhere on social media at Talking in Ovals. Go watch us on X, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick. We appreciate everyone that's watching, everyone that listens later. We also appreciate. And we'll be back next week with another fun show. So everyone, thank you for dealing with all of our technical difficulties,
Yes,
random
thank you.
areas, Dave popping in and out, but we did it. We got through it. So